The world is in the middle of a technological revolution. Artificial intelligence, automation, and digital innovation are not just reshaping industries, they are redefining the very idea of work. How do we prepare for jobs that don't exist yet? How do we ensure that our workforce doesn't just keep pace but leads this transformation? This distinguished panel will shed light on advancements in technology and the evolving skill landscape and how we must prepare for the jobs of tomorrow. The panelists for today's discussion are Dr. V.P. Joy, Senior Executive Vice President, Reliance Industries, Ms. Lata R., Program Director, IBM, and Mr. Subit Bhatia, Chief Principal Strategist, Author and People Leader, Marsh McLennan. The session will be steered by Mr. Riji N. Das, Head, Knowledge Office, ICT Academy of Kerala, and is hosted by ICT Academy of Kerala. I welcome the panel onto the stage. Handing over the session to Mr. Riji. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So thank you so much for the introduction. So my role here is to set the context and then have a discussion with the panel. Let me start with an incident that happened 15 years back. This is actually the graduation ceremony of a B school, one of the famous B schools in India. The keynote speaker was addressing the audience, and after that, he opened the forum for discussion. And one question came. That question was very simple from the going to be graduated youth. That person asked, you are a person, so to the panelist, he asked, like, you are having 30 years of experience and leading one of the MNCs in the world. And we are going to be graduates. We are going to pass out from the campus. What is the difference between you and us? Very simple question asked by one of the graduating youth. And this person thought for a while and said, think that I am asking you to prepare a project document that comprises of 30 pages and submitting to me. I could able to reproduce that 30-page document into a single-page document without losing any of the essence of that 30-page document. That is what 30 years of experience is. This he said in 2010. So right now, when we sit here and looking at the definition of the experience that he articulated, a machine can even do the same thing and even better. So the experience, what he defined 10 years back, should be redefined. The skills that is needed these days has to be evolved. And even the job opportunities or the jobs that we are talking about in the yesterday's has to be redefined. So what we have here is three eminent personality. It's a perfect mix, like two persons from the industry, one from the academia. And also, when we put together the experiences of all the three people, it is 100 years on offer. Okay, can we start with a big round of applause to the panel members? Yeah. So welcome everyone. So let me sit with the panel and then start the interaction. Okay. And before that, I wanted to give some input about the audience back to the panelists so that we can customize the talk accordingly. So can you play the survey question? So all of you, please take your mobile phone and scan. You can't scan if you are sitting in the back. Go to this website, slido.com, and it asks for a 7-digit number which is displayed here. And this is just to give you, okay, you can watch it here, good. Yeah, we got close to 40 responses, and out of which 30% of you are from academia, and we have a good participation from the corporate side as well, and have a mix like equal from academia, like undergraduate students as well as I take the other into like. Okay, so you have some idea about
that's a good mix.
Yeah, it's a good mix. Okay, so let's start. Like, So let me start from, first of all, I give you, we run this mod panel discussion in 4 segments. Like the first segment is, you already introduced the panel members, and the panel members also speak something more about their current role. And then talk about, the first segment is mainly on the changes that is happening in the industry, like the person introduced, like this particular discussion is mainly focusing on and the changes in the skill landscape, as well as the technology disruption happening, as well as the job opportunities. So that all the panel members will be speaking about their experience with this changing technology changes. And the second round, we will be focusing mainly on the second segment, focusing mainly on skills, which are skills that is needed, and the panel members will be sharing their perspectives. And coming to the third segment, Kerala specific, we are sitting here and deliberating on the opportunities in Kerala, and then what are the kind of collaboration that is needed in this particular hour to cater these opportunities, especially to meet the requirement. Finally, you are most important, and we expect questions from your side as well. So this is going to be the general structure. Shall we start? Okay. So let me start from Lata. Lata is a program director with IBM. And February 2026 is going to be a very special month for Lata. She's going to complete 30 years with IBM. Advanced congratulations.
Thank you.
So 30 years in an IT, in the same company in IT is a very, very unique thing. And first of all, I would like to know what is the X factor keeping you in IBM?
Yeah, it is not X, it is all that A, B, C, D till Z, all the factors I have. So, talking about my journey in IBM, the only thing that can get me out of an organization is something that questions my integrity. So far, that has not happened in IBM, so I stay there. But what keeps me going day in, day out is I like challenges most of the times. I like to work in a very tough environment, because that is what's given me a lot of learning and helped me grow in the organization and grow myself as a person. So every 2 years, I would take up something very, very new and start working. Now, talking about the outcomes. Now, every year, 2 years, I keep changing my job. What are the outcomes? The outcomes I have, I can still think of more than 8,500 clients within India and globally that I have met. I have met all the partners and worked with them to develop solutions not only in India but across the globe, like Infosys, Capgemini, Wipro. I have done many projects with the system integrators. And talk about the government enterprises, not a single state government I have not worked with. Like you talk about, even in the Northeast, I have been in government of Assam. I have even traveled to Bangladesh and transformed their entire pension system. And I have worked with NIC in the National Informatic Development Center to influence many technology adoptions. And if you look at overall as a person, the amount of give back that I was able to influence being an IBMer is introducing AI in CBSE and mentoring so many students from Atal Innovation who are successful entrepreneurs today. I have more than 250 sandbox startups that I mentor with, and it is endless. And today my job role is about expanding the software development centers and the innovation centers across in India in tier 2, tier 3 cities. I have been very successful in doing that in Kerala, Riji, I should tell you. 2 years ago, I was not confident I will set up a development center in Kochi with 500 software engineers. Today, we have more than 2,700 software engineers in Kerala.
Okay, good.
What are they doing out of Kerala? They are the ones who are creating the next generation products for IBM for the world. So there is not a single application in the world which doesn't have IBM in it. And that's happening from Kerala. So kudos to all of people who are here.
Okay, for a follow-up thing, like you mentioned about your current role. So how you see the technological changes that is happening from an IBM perspective?
See, technological changes will continue to happen because I know when I started, there was nothing but a computer, and then so many technological changes have happened in the journey. Today, if you talk about, everybody is saying about artificial intelligence, then they're talking about generative AI. Now I am looking at agentic AI. I recently inaugurated a agentic AI innovation center in Bangalore. Last year, November 12th, I inaugurated the generative AI innovation center for Kochi in Lulu Towers. So what are we doing here in artificial intelligence is, maybe everybody is saying that there will be so much automation that will take away the jobs. That's the first thing everybody talk about. It is not at all that. The only way it is happening is, the way we are going to work is going to be far more on a critical thinking and far more complex problems that we need to solve. All I can see that's happening in these innovation centers that we are setting up for technology adoption is about solving the most complex problems. And that's going to help human values have to come back. That means you create a technology that's going to take away the bias. It's not anymore that the technology is for those who are luxury. Today, technology is available for everyone. Like you are talking about UPI. Any user can do it. Even a child can operate a payment gateway. Even a child can be employed if the person is innovative and really advanced. So that is how the innovation centers are happening. And that's how the technology influence is also happening, that we use all this technology to remove the bias and democratize technology.
Okay, thank you. So any student sitting here enrolled to any arts and science segment, so Leda is from a commerce background talking about technology. So technology is for everyone. And I also like the thing like 30 years is not 30 years as a bulk, it is 1 year multiplied 30 times. Okay, very good. So let me come to another 30, like Joy. So Joy is actually a banker turned into an academician. We should say that an educational leader. Right now, he spent 15 years with Federal Bank in the banking segment, and then moved to academia and are currently working with Reliance as a senior executive vice president. So from your perspective, so normally academia do a catching up job, like industry moves fast, and normally especially in technological adoption, academia is lagging behind. So from your perspective, how you see that the technological changes that is happening now from your current role? So tell something about your current role and then how you see technology.
Yeah. Thank you, Reggie, and thank you all the fellow panelists, and good morning, everyone. My current role is primarily on educational institutes of Reliance, more specifically into the schools. I started 45 years ago, actually 49 years ago, into a skilling program. That's why I'm so excited to be part of this panel discussion. As Reggie mentioned, I was a banker. I was in Federal Bank. Federal Bank had a unique program called a skilling program in diploma in commercial practice. So after my class 10, from a rural school, state board medium, I joined Federal Bank as an apprentice at the age of 16. We had a very tough program, morning and evening attending classes, and daytime going to the bank branch or the head office to get hands-on training. Today, not many people can think about that. And this was the vision of the founder, chairman of Federal Bank, Mr. K.P. Hormes. Someone could envision that skilling half a century ago. Of course, I worked in Federal Bank for about 14 years. I pivoted into higher education first, purely out of passion. I was with ICFA University. I didn't have any background in education. And I was the national head of program promotion and marketing. 7 years, I have gone around the entire country. I have interacted with so many engineering colleges, business schools, degree colleges. I could interact with so many professionals as part of my job. So that gave me a good flavor of the education ecosystem in our country. Then I joined Reliance about 25 years ago. Again, sometimes people are asking, about the story behind this longevity. So first I started a university project. We started a ICT university project offering BTech, MTech and PhD programs. After that again, I pivoted into school education. And within school education, international schools, CBSE schools, state board schools, and all, so quite diverse. So this has been my journey. And yeah, so there is some common thread, we will come to that later. So currently I do a lot of work in the school education space in terms of policy formulation, process, systems, digitalization, academics, administration, all across. So I kind of anchor, support, oversee on a 360-degree way all aspects of starting a school, running a school, and then taking the schools to different levels of excellence. So that's briefly about my current role.
Okay, thank you. So I think most of you will agree, like banking is one sector which adopts technology faster than any other. So you were with the bank and right now you are sharing that kind of experience with the academia. Good, sir. So Sumit is a very popular name in India, one of the top HR leaders in the country. Currently is a strategic person, people strategist with Mercer. So I would like to know from you about your current role and a bit about the technology. You are a technologist turned HR person. So how you see the technological changes from the other end of the spectrum?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the invitation for this panel, and glad to be part of this panel with such esteemed panelists and experience that's sitting in the dais with me, right? So, as Reggie were mentioning, I'm a technologist to start with. I was an engineer, did my software engineering, and was first 1/3 of my career has been in technology, and then I pivoted into HR. I think that itself is how we are looking at roles right now. It's each role is getting defined or divided into multiple skills, and you are pivoting into your top skills and trying to do multiple things. And that's probably the pivot that happened with me as well. Is when I was looking at my own career, I found that certain skills were more relevant for me and more passionate for me, and that's where I pivoted into HR core as people-related skills, and those were the things that I was more inclined towards. I am at this point very, very happy that it's again pivoting into a mix of people and technology, right? Technology is becoming more like a central aspect of everything that we do. In my current role, so I'm part of an organization called Marsh McLennan. It's a global organization, almost 100,000 employees in the world. We are into risk advisory, professional services, consulting, and everything around that. 4 major organizations: Marsh Insurance Broking, Mercer Consulting, Guy Carpenter, and Oliver Wyman. I am leading the HR for Mercer GCC globally, and I think I'm in the right mix of building the HR strategy as well as thinking of future of work. And to answer your other question, right, how am I seeing this transitioning? I think what's happening is the speed of transition is currently exponential. It has never been this, should I say, I'll say it differently, right? The speed of change has never been this slow. That's how fast it is going. And what's happening is AI and automation is currently transforming the way we work. The processes are becoming more stronger. We are trying to build in a lot of automation around it. That is freeing up a lot of time for us to think differently. And what organizations need now is a cultural shift. They need to start thinking differently. There is a top-down and bottoms-up approach has to marry together, right? That's how we are looking at how workforce is changing. And I think Kerala has always been at a front force or front end of a lot of these things. It's the first state in India that said, internet is the basic human right. That makes it culturally so different that you're already building that kind of digital mindset and cultural mindset. And that's where we are having a lot of organization that needs to change. It's the culture that needs to change, and not from individual perspective, but from an organization perspective.
Okay, very nice to hear. So this is an introduction as well as their view on technology. So in the next segment, we'll be talking more on the skills, especially the future skill requirement. So I'll start from the other end, like I'll start with you, Sumit. So in one of the interviews once, one interviewer asked Sourav Ganguly a question, who is your favorite cricketer? And then everyone was expecting what is going to be the answer. And then he said, my favorite cricketer is Rahul Dravid. And everyone asked, obviously the second question was why? And he said, he's not only a good cricketer, he's a good human being. And most of the times when, especially we have a lot of faculty members, corporate sitting here, knows that the core skill is one side of, on the other side there is the human skills as well as the human nature. So I start with you. Going forward, when we talk about the technological disruptions and the skill requirement is also getting changed. So think from the other side, the human or behavioral side, what are the top 1, 2, 3 skills that you see should be required from a newly graduated student, from an industry perspective? From a student perspective, what things that they have to focus more while they are in the campus? From an academia perspective, what all things that the faculty should able to mentor these students so that they can be smoothly handed over to the industry?
Yeah, I think that's a very relevant question right now, and as Lata was mentioning, right, technology is one aspect of things. It will always keep changing. There will be some new aspects coming in. What is differentiating right now is the speed of the change and the way it is disrupting certain things that we do. And like I was mentioning, I think we'll have to look at dividing each aspect of our job and role into skills, and then say what part of that will be done by AI. Because that is a fact, right? Some of that will get automated, some of that AI will do some things better than what we have ever been doing. And so that brings us to a concept of what else we need to build. What we need to do is 3 or 4 things I think will make a differentiation. One is adaptability and learning agility. That will be absolutely critical. How fast are we reskilling ourselves? How are we unlearning what we learn? How are we relearning a lot of things that we do? Right? That's probably the topmost thing that we'll have to do. And today, the advantage that all of us have, whichever sector, whichever experience that we are in, is that learning has become very, very democratized. And it's almost free to learn anything. And the revolution that we're seeing with likes of YouTube learning and everything, right? We don't need to go to specialized colleges and schools to learn. Schools will build up a good basic understanding, but you'll need to get more deeper yourself, right? That's one very important. So learning agility, definitely one thing. The other thing that's going to be important is the emotional intelligence. So artificial intelligence is one aspect of it. We are trying to look at human intelligence or emotional intelligence, which will become more like a central theme again, is how are we looking at empathy? How are we looking at connecting with other people? What will also change is humans will have to learn to work with AI or lead AI, right? AI will do a lot of things, but how do you lead AI? How do you work with AI? There will be, I think in next 1 year with agentic AI is coming up so fast, we will all have to find a way how humans and machines will work together. And that will require a lot of emotional intelligence and empathy around it, right? So that probably is the second thing that I would say. I think the third is your critical thinking, your creative thinking, and coming from the background that Joy is coming, right? From bringing all the creativity together, mixing with technology, mixing a lot of things around it, building it from start, from the schooling aspects of it. I think the government is doing a lot of things around changing the way we are doing education, where an art student can learn technology, a technology student can learn art. That mix of creativity is going to be very important. So adaptability, learning intelligence, learning agility, your emotional intelligence and creative or critical thinking.
Yeah, so I'll map it into the 3 segment dimension. Like from an industry perspective, I believe that Anup, LinkedIn publishes the top skill report every year, adaptability was one in 2024. It was the top skill from the people's side. So you actually mentioned the same thing. So from an industry perspective, that is something in the industry look for. The people should be adaptable. The new recruiter should be adaptable to the thing. And from a mentoring perspective, faculty perspective, it should be like critical thinking. You will give challenges so that the students should be able to think critically and solve problems rather than jumping into solutions. That is the engineering mindset we generally talk about. And thirdly, from the student perspective, you should be empathetic. If you come up with a solution, think from the user's perspective, be empathetic, and then apply all your intelligence to solve such problems.
Yeah, the design thinking concept, as we call it, right? That's also important. That's the empathy bit of it. So absolutely right.
Yeah, thank you. So let me come to Lata. Okay. So from IBM is always a front runner, and especially in adopting technology. So your current role is also setting up COEs, and then you have Center of Excellences related to technology. So in your perspective, what are the top futuristic skill from the tech side, like the technology, which are the top 3 technology the students should spend time, the faculty should be upskilling themselves and putting their hands so that the students should be groomed properly?
Yeah, from technology perspective, it is not going to be very different from what Sumit has already said. All of Sumit said is what will be the trigger for a technology. And the trigger for technology is innovation. And why will you innovate something is because you want to solve a problem. How are you going to even think a problem is the right problem to solve, or it's okay, some problems don't need to be solved? How are you going to validate that? That's when you need innovation centers, where you need to bring the right set of people as well within your quorum. You always need to have a team that you're discussing. You need a stakeholder that you're discussing. Like for example, if I am discussing on an innovation that relates to academia, I might have Joy in that meeting. Joy may not be an employee, Joy may be an external stakeholder, but it is very important we have the domain knowledge, domain experienced person in the room in the innovation center to let us know whether the problem that we are thinking technologically we will solve is the right problem to solve. Probably in the innovation center I need to solve a problem related to the HR domain, human domain, or for a people domain. Then I will invite Sumit to be a part of that conversation. So first thing you start off with a conversation. Then you come to validate the problem. With the problem, we have to brainstorm and see whether it is giving the right level of outcome, not the output. So these are two things you have to always remember. There is something output and there is an outcome. Output is you will get the innovation done and you will have the problem solved and you will have a new application or a new skill that emerged out of it. Maybe people said we used more of Python, we used more of JavaScript, we used design thinking tools, we used lot of other tools. All of that has happened, so there is a new tools also introduced in the technology. But what is the outcome? Outcome means how many people have benefited, how many people are going to benefit out of your solution, and what will be the future of that particular problem or the technology that you're adopting. That is how you will have to think in the innovation center. It is not the output, but the outcome. Outcome is, it talks about the sphere of influence of your technology that you're introducing. You can innovate and bring a technology or an application or a solution, but that can actually drive people crazy. We can have a gaming app created that can make people go psych. Or we can create a gaming app for a senior citizen level where even people who are having less ability to operate can still have a good time in the last few days of their life. So there are different ways that you got to think about the outcomes of what you're creating in the innovation center. So that is technology. Now talking about the skill set itself, I think even the LinkedIn presentation that I was watching, there are so many things that we talk about: data analytics, we talk about Python, we talk about even design is a very good skill to have, because you definitely need to worry about the user experience. Because anybody who operates should not worry about the technology behind it, but you can operate it very easily. How many of you were trained to operate on Instagram or Facebook? Now that is a message that we have to carry for academic ways of teaching. The user experience or the student experience should be such that once you have introduced the subject and the topic or given them a problem to solve, it should be like Instagram. They have to independently work. So that is what we need to focus in terms of technology. It will keep changing. Tomorrow that Python will become Anaconda, right? So anything can happen. But it's about how you bring people together to build something that is going to have a better outcome, something that's going to help our humankind. So those are things that we have to take away. And like Sumit said, it's not about just being in the industry as an employee. You have to think like an entrepreneur. Unless you have the entrepreneurial mindset and you have emotional independence along with the intelligence, you cannot survive for long in even a company. You should be emotionally detached as well. You should be independent, so that you are able to solve and focus on the problem and think about the outcome, and not get attached to a particular technical skills that I have. So I am so passionate about this. No, someday you have to let it go. Like Sumit mentioned, you have to unlearn few things, you have to let go, then you have to go for a new thing. So those are things that you have to focus on. Problem solving, and which should have an outcome, not just an output.
Okay, great. So that's actually the skill requirement from the tech side. So it's connected. Technology is a tool to solve problems. So you will be upskilling yourself to get the right skill and try to solve the problem. Thank you. So coming to Joy, in academia normally when we talk about a lot of reports being published on the employability, like recently Mercer and Metal published a report which shows that only 42.6% is employable. Another report from suggests like it is kind of 54. Not looking at the numbers, what actually from an academia perspective, academia is feeding the talent to the industry. So what is the definition of skilled resource as far as the academia is concerned?
Thank you, Rajiv. I will take you, before I a little amplify that point, I'll take you from what Leda said and then Sumit said. Leda said, learning Instagram or using Instagram has, nobody would have taught you, but it has jumped. So I think skilling, when you talk about skilling, it should be second nature. It should be your second nature. That's how we should integrate, immerse into the skilling. Skilling may be formal education, skilling may be through work, learning from the workplace, and then lot of self-learning. Why I'm saying is that I am myself a self-taught person all these years. I've been learning formally about 60 years. Formal learning has been a kind of a marathon. It was not a sprint. As I mentioned, I have been learning while in the school, while in the college, while in working all these years. And there is, as Sumit said, there is tremendous opportunities for learning. And the LinkedIn presentation, which again was shown there, that opens the world to us, the windows to us in a big way. And most of it is free. Now we are all talking about AI. Sumit mentioned about EI, emotional intelligence. 2 years ago, I was in IIM Calcutta campus for a leadership program. So I was asking the director of the program, or mentioning to him that, along with the artificial intelligence, emotional intelligence also important. He corrected me. He said that, Mr. Joy, EI, that is emotional intelligence, is more important than AI, artificial intelligence. I think that's a larger message that we should have. That's what, when Sumit is mentioning about the human behavior, the human attitude. And Emotional intelligence is a basket of empathy, of compassion, of respect, of humility. There are different parameters, elements. There are different parameters of emotional intelligence. So that is one. Then he mentioned about the adaptability again. I will mention about my own journey. If I pivoted across industries, across sectors, and within the organizations, across various domains, it is because of that adaptability mindset. I could have given up on various occasions. So adaptability is so very, very key. Now, we all of us carry some common, what you call the transferable skills. Today, most important to have as a student, as a professional, or whichever profession you are, whichever vocation you are having, transferable skills. It is your toolkit. What are the transferable skills? Maybe communication skills, maybe writing skills, maybe project management skills, maybe collaboration skills. So you need to look at that. What are those transferable skills? They also call it a meta skills or foundational capabilities. And that is industry agnostic. While I am speaking not just purely from an academic perspective, I have seen the corporate sector, I have seen the academic world and all layers. So it is very, very important that we have that transferable skills. That's a kit, that's a toolkit that will take you places. It is industry agnostic. And transferable skills are timeless skills that will never ever fade away. The other thing is about the skilling is about, how do you have a multidisciplinary fluency? Yesterday I was listening to a panel discussion on creative economy. An artist should be digitally literate. An engineer should be an artist also. So there is a lot of cross-disciplinary learning, and that is critical. This is not a choice. So that multidisciplinary understanding, interaction. If you look at multidisciplinary learning, all of us use mobile, right? All of us use mobile. Mobile is an excellent example of a multidisciplinary learning. In production, in its usage, how many disciplines are going into producing a mobile phone? Physics, chemistry, psychology, and many. And in its use also. So multidisciplinary learning is part of our life. We don't know about that. And that's so very, very, very important. The other thing is, which again I have seen in my own ways, that the lifelong learning. I have been in 3 organizations, but I'm largely looking to the youngsters who are in their colleges or in their 20s and 30s. You may be working maybe in 10 organizations before you retire. And going back in the longevity of life, you may not retire at 60. You may retire at 70 or even 80 also, which means how many jobs you will do, how many sectors, how many organizations you will be doing. So that transferable skills, that multidisciplinary fluency and the lifelong learning, that will take you places. And that will make you world class. That will make you unbeatable. I keep telling my colleagues about the importance of skill. The skill should be so solid that if an elephant comes and hits you, the elephant should retreat. You should be so strong, so solid, so clear, your skill sets. An elephant will be forced to retreat. That's we are talking about the resilience. Now when we talk about technical skills, Radha and Sumit, they have been talking about a lot of technical skills. They are very, very important. At the same time, and we have seen through COVID, the pandemic times, how the resilience have saved us, saved lives, and how we became adaptable during the pandemic. We all got into online virtual mode. So there are various elements and should become our second nature. And when you talk about skills also, it should be specific knowledge. Some of you would have heard about the book by Naval Ravikant. He's a famous author. And his book, he's saying about the specific knowledge, not anything generic. And all of us will have some latent talent or ability. We should build on that, and we should keep on building on that one. So it's very, very important that your knowledge is specific. Specificity is key. So there is several elements of skilling, and skilling is, to my mind, based on my own journey, skilling is largely self-taught, and you can create magic. You can become a world-class student. You can become a world-class professional. You can work from Kerala. You can work for the world. Thank you.
Okay. So
Reggie,
yeah.
I think this is
Sure.
a great forum, right? This is developed by this is led by the government of Kerala, and I'm sure the entire Indian government and other governments will be looking at this and seeing a lot of these things. I'll make a request for the government to ensure that emotional intelligence is made as a mandatory subject in schools. That's how we need to make sure that that's how important it is, and that's what Joy is also saying, that's what Lata is also saying, that will be the differentiator. Let's make it mandatory in schools.
Okay, I understand that KDSK is working on curriculum building for the 8 to 10 standard students, especially on that design thinking kind of thing. I hope that these kind of topics should also be included there. Yeah, just summing up, you heard about the technology segment, you heard about adaptability, emotional intelligence, problem solving, and then resilience. So if you start something, you should stick on to it. I think I should take 1 or 2 questions from the audience on the first 2 segments on technology as well as skill. If you have any specific questions on skill, technology, please raise your hand and ask question. Yeah, yes. So can anyone pass this mic? Do you need this one?
Okay, thank you, sir. My question is very simple. Is it required any special syllabus for using AI to the students? Those who want to prepare AI or create AI, they might need syllabus, especially for this, digital natives.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, there was a lot of echo, so I'm not able to understand question properly. Can you repeat this?
Okay. Is there any special syllabus required for the students, especially those in digital natives? Just using or operating the AI tools or AI agents. For those who want to, create AI, maybe it's required a syllabus.
To create AI, to work on AI tools, to be more adaptable towards all of this thing, the only thing that you need is good English. That's it. It has become extremely user-friendly to be able to work and use a lot of AI tools. I mean, by the raise of hands, how many of you have used ChatGPT? Almost 6, 70, 80% of them. There's no background of technology, technical skills, engineering required to use ChatGPT. All you need is good English. How do you write the right prompts? How do you make it? With agentic AI, I think it's becoming context writing, then prompt writing. So all of that will change. It's how you ask the right questions, how you interact. I think the new thing that will come up is a new communication skill on how do you interact with AI. That will start becoming more and more relevant. How do you talk to AI? How do you interact? How do you communicate to AI? So I think that's the basic thing required. Otherwise, I don't think currently there's no technical skills that are required, but please add.
If I may supplement what Sumiti is mentioning, he mentioned about, if you know English, you can use AI tools. And how many of you are using ChatGPT? I think what is very important is that I'm saying my own experience that how do we optimally leverage the AI tools? ChatGPT is just one, there are many, so many are there. It's very, very important that personally in my own for maybe last 6 months or so, particularly, how I have leveraged AI tools, encourage my team members to leverage AI tools and optimally use. And you can little relax. AI will do the job for you. Provided you know your purpose. You're divine for your purpose. Now earlier, prompt engineering, many of you may know that prompt engineering is very, very important. Now prompt engineering is also not very, very important. Today, if you have in a simple common sense, you can define the purpose of what you want from the AI tools. The AI tools, ChatGPT or any of the other tools, they will create a prompt for you. You can iterate that prompt. You can improve that prompt depending on your purpose, requirement. It is unbelievable. So it has become so user-friendly and more options are there.
Yeah, and I meant English as a language, it can be any language, right? It may not be just English at this point.
Okay. Yeah, earlier we used to say that programming languages is Python, Java. Right now, if you want to build application, you need only Malayalam, Marathi, Hindi,
Yeah,
any language.
exactly.
This prompting is needed. Thank you for that question. So let us move to the next segment.
One more.
Yeah, so take your question as well. Yeah.
Good morning. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Sindhu Kalyaganasu. I run a corporate training and development company. I was thrilled when you spoke about emotional intelligence, empathy, and problem solving being critical skills. My question is, see, when I go and train people on emotional intelligence and empathy, common query I get is, we don't get measured on all this, on our KPIs and KRAs. But the distinguished panel members agreed these are critical skills. So how do you measure the skill sets of your employees on empathy, emotional intelligence, and problem solving?
Yeah, Bam, I can answer that for you. Like we talked about the outcome. That's the most critical and important thing for us. Any of us going and buying a product, we really want to see the outcome of it. Did you buy a hair dryer? Did it dry your hair? It did not blow your hair, right? So that's what is expected of an employee. You gave them a goal, you gave them an objective, there is a business outcome expected. Have they delivered that or not? To deliver the business outcome, the most important thing is what is required, what Sumit and Joy sir and all of us are talking about. Because without that, if you try and give an outcome, there are a lot of things that you will miss in the journey as a human to grow further. If you are absolutely irrational in the way you are going and achieving the outcome, but not having demonstrated empathy on your team members or leaders, peers and clients, probably they will not see you as a good human being. The business outcome will be, okay, you delivered, I don't want you again, right? So if you have to continuously grow, first you be a good human, then you demonstrate the outcome in a way that you were able to collaborate, because there will be a whole lot of challenges when you have to be a human and then do what you have to do. Then the outcome is very difficult because you have a 10-member team, maybe 5 members of them were impacted, like Joy sir said about COVID resilience. How can 2 people who are surviving in the project with health deliver everything that 10 members were doing? But they still did it. So there was some level of understanding, learning, being empathetic and deliver. So outcome is what you will have to define in the KRA. But they should not compromise on their basic fundamental values of being a human.
I think what Lata is mentioning is exactly what's happening right now. So a lot of organizations are shifting the culture of how they are measuring things, right? The normal SLAs and KPIs are becoming irrelevant in a lot of aspects. And because of what you said, right? How do you measure some of these things? We weren't doing it. And that's a cultural shift that a lot of organizations need to do, is how do you bring that as a center and how do you look at value creation, outcome and those aspects and then bring in measurements around that. So that Is it happening right now? I don't think it's happening 100%, but is this a shift that we all need to do? Definitely we will, otherwise we will not be able to survive.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to supplement, even many organizations globally, they give a lot of importance for the emotional intelligence quotient when they do the recruitment. And I'm sure with maybe psychometric test or other with the AI-enabled testing assessment format, there may be some system to measure, but it cannot be completely measured. It is, as Lada said, outcome. It is the evidence. Finally, the evidence will stand up, and then you will see what is the thing. That is the best measurement. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. So let me come to the last segment where we talk about Kerala's opportunities and the collaboration. So let me start with Leda. IBM came to Kerala in 2021 and they set up a big lab, innovation lab in 2024. And then right now they are set 2025, they introduced one incubation center. So what next and what are the opportunities waiting for the students?
Oh, that's amazing because Kerala has given us a lot more than we expected. So when we came to Kerala, we thought, okay, we will set up a lab which is just about 500, 400 engineers and we will have a space as well identified, and we were thinking we are settled with that. But it didn't work that way. The energy that Kerala has, the kind of openness the government has, is what has helped us get to where we are today. When I also talked about more than 2,700 engineers are already there in the last 18 months, it means a lot. So what did we do in terms of having this collaboration with students and academia? Is firstly, we did not have an internship model by KTU, which was just about 4 to 6 weeks. That wouldn't have helped IBM's model. We, engineering teams, we need 6 months internship and then we hire those students. So we needed to do a lot to work with all the academia and with KTU and with government and with the education ministry teams to be able to help us redefine that policy for KTU. And today we have more than 800 students who came as interns and become employees, and IBM of the 2,700. So it means a lot for us, not just to come as students and internship. Now what's happening is the same students are mentoring their junior batch students to come to IBM in the next following year. So then the students have graduated to become mentors in IBM, and the junior students are also getting mentored. Now some of the students, when we do hackathons, they come as startup enterprises. So IBM has a platform which is IBM Ventures. That means they help them to give the credentials, the mentoring and financial and all of those things are integrated to help them set up as startups. That's another part. And many engineers who get hired through TCS, to Wipro, through Cognizant and all our other partners still engage with IBM because we are building solutions even through the partners. So there are many ways the students can engage. It doesn't mean if you have joined a TCS or a Cognizant, you will not work with IBM. You will still be working on IBM platforms. You will still be associated with IBM.
So bookmark the career page of IBM, so students. So Kerala, so let me come to Joy. Like Kerala is a late adopter to NEP. And even NEP is, we adopted NEP in a very customized way. We call it as the 4-year degree program is being introduced in the arts and science segment last year. So in your view, how this will be helping the students? Because you already started experiencing and some of the results are already with you. So what are the suggestions to the, especially the faculty? Some of them are confused. What should be the result?
You know, NEP, the National Education Policy, is such a aspirational document of our nation, in whichever way you interpret, whichever way you customize. I think, you know, if you look at those who have gone through the NEP document and also these other allied documents like the National Curriculum Framework and all, and there are so many implementation documents for NEP also. There are 3-4 core pillars of NEP. The first and foremost is what we are talking about in this session is about the skilling and more specifically competency. Competency is a higher order of skilling. Sometimes people get confused between skills and competency. skill is more of a transactional skill of a specific task. Whereas competency is a very broader framework. To be competent, you have to be knowledgeable, you have to be skilled, and you should have the right behavior and attitude. That's why today we talk more about competency than about skills. And I'm sure going forward, we'll talk more and more about competency and not that about the skills, because that is a larger thing. Now, to develop a competency, I may be a good writer, that may be a great skill, but I may not be a good leader. I may not be a good team player or team leader.
Hello?
There are so many examples of how you can distinguish between, if you use an AI tool, if you Google search, you'll find what's the difference between competency and skill. So I think our larger overriding purpose and our goal should be to become competent in whichever field we are. That is one part of it. The second thing, flexibility. We are now hearing more and more flexibility to pursue a program, to get a certification, to do a smaller program, and then you can stack it, what they call as the stackable credentials. You can go for micro certification. You can go for modular learning. Earlier we are more and more rigid. You have to go for 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, complete the course. Now you can enter and you can exit midway. So that is the beauty of the NEP. It is flexible, and we should make it more and more flexible. So that if I take a break after maybe 1 year or 2 years, I can go to the industry, work, get experience, do internship, do apprenticeship. I can come back and join the same program. It all will be available, and finally you may get a degree or diploma, whichever you join. So flexibility is the key of another pillar of NEP. The third thing is learner-centric. Whatever we do, whatever we talk about, whatever we teach, whatever we assess, finally it is for the learner. How do we add value to the learner? So everything should be through the lens of, is this adding value? Is this empowering? Is this enlightening? Is this skilling the learner? I think that's very, very, very important when you look at the NEP. So I think these are the 3 larger pillars we should look at that. And it is easy to talk about all those things, but very, very challenging to implement. I think that's why our educational ecosystem, our colleges, universities, our schools should start. Now they talk about the focus is more on, specifically again in NEP, they're talking about the conceptual understanding. We talk about inquiry-based learning. We talk about experiential learning through projects, through internship, school project, or outside the school or outside the university. We talk about differentiated instruction, personalized learning, now aided by digital technologies and AI. Personalized learning is another very, very important pillar of education, of NEP. So personalized learning is very, very important, and that is going to change the game. That will open more pathways. Earlier it was more of a pipeline. You have to go in a straightforward way. It's a pipeline. Now it is opening you multiple pathways, multiple entry points and exit points. So I think we should look at that, but it's very, very important that to prepare our students to be competent, our educators, they should also be equally competent. I visited a skill university some time back, and the vice chancellor was mentioning that the faculty, they are not that skilled. So faculty need to be skilled. They need to get the industry exposure. There should be academia industry linkage. They should be more open-minded, more flexible, talk to each other. When I went to another business school, one director mentioned that industry is not telling what we need to teach. Yeah. It is for you to proactively and go and approach the industry. Industry should again go proactively. So it is again, we are talking about collaboration. We are talking about there are 4 key 21st century skills: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and then communication. There are many skills, but these are the 4 outstanding skills. Okay. So when you look at that, how are we, where are we, whether educators or learners or professionals? Thank you.
Okay. So flexibility and collaboration, so these are some of the opportunities NEP brings in. So one question on collaboration, so you have vast experience walking across the country, across the globe. So Kerala has actually the privilege to have the first IT park in India. So in your view, how government, academia and industry collaborate so that we have a talent pool created to meet the opportunities ahead?
I think we need to definitely look at a 3-in-a-box structure right now. It's not going to be individualized program that can work. So for example, industry has to co-create the curriculum. You cannot run the curriculum separately. Academia cannot run it separately. The second thing that we need to look at is, again, how are we making our students not just curriculum completed but employable? I think employability is, and you mentioned a couple of stats, right? I am seeing those stats day in, day out, that people who are graduating are not converting into employees because there is a gap on employability. I think that gap needs to be filled by the industry collaboration to a large extent.
Yeah.
Right, that's a big gap that and industry needs to co-create that curriculum. We need to look at what students need, and what the third thing that is missing is the experience which Joy is also mentioning. Can we go and mandate internship, for example? Can we make it mandatory for everybody to do internship, or to go and talk to work with industry? Can industry make it mandatory that we will hire fresh graduates only after they've completed internship? Some of that radical shift and thinking is required. Otherwise, we will still face challenge on a lot of these things, and entrepreneur mindset will not come in, right? Kerala is having 30 lakh people working globally. What are we bringing back? Are we bringing back that global exposure, global mindset, entrepreneur mindset? That is what is important. If they're bringing back, how are they connecting with both academia and industry to bring that whole thing together? So that's a bit of radical thinking that's required.
Okay. So I think currently most of the universities are working with industry to bring in industry guided curriculum into the university syllabuses also. Okay, so summing it up, like you heard about a lot of what are the different technologies that may be capturing the near future, and what are the skills that you have to upskill or reskill or even cross-skill yourself to meet the requirements, and a few collaboration opportunities, how the government, industry and the academia focus together to meet all the requirements that we see ahead. To summing it up, like actually we heard about a lot of keywords from the panelists. I think from my perspective, I would like to add one more term into the discussion, that is known as passion. Like, let me conclude by saying one incident. In one of the talk shows, Rahul Dravid was mentioning, he was asked, who is your favorite cricketer? Again, I am coming to cricket. And he said that my favorite cricketer is Praveen Tambe. And in that room, even those who are following cricket didn't know who is Praveen Tambe. And then everyone was curious, who is this Praveen Tambe and what made him so special to Rahul Dravid? And he said Praveen Tambe was playing cricket starting at the age of 15 in the Gullies Maidans. He never played a match for, he was from Mumbai, he never played for Maharashtra or Mumbai in Ranji Trophy. He never selected for a national team. But he kept on playing till 40 years without being selected for any of the teams. And when he was 40, in one of the trials, Rajasthan Royals trials, Rahul Dravid see him bowling, and he nominated a 40-year man to the team to recruit in the next team selection. The CEO called Rahul Dravid and asked, "Are you crazy? You listed a person with 40 years. Ours is a team focusing more on youngsters or grooming youngsters." And then Rahul said, he is so passionate about the game, give me a chance. And then they selected him, and he had to wait one more year to play a match. And when he was given a chance, he was a superstar. And so that is all about passion. Even though he was not looking at any of the results, any of the selections, but he kept on playing the game. That was his core skill. If you see cricket as his core skill, he kept on believing his capability, and then he was so passionate. So my request to all of the students sitting here or the corporate sitting here, technology may take your job, but if you are passionate, no technology can remove you out of your position or your position. So thank you so much, the panelists, and thank you so much, the audience, for engaging, and thank you, the KKM team, for giving us an opportunity.